Dragon Ball, the OG anime. If you're an anime fan, chances are that this is the show that got you into it in the first place. And it makes sense. Cool-ass character designs, crazy fights, crazy power-ups. It has almost everything you could possibly want in a show. Only almost, because it doesn't have big booty Latinas. Nah, it did. We'll be talking about the greatest show ever created in human history. You know this show is influential when in South America they had whole stadiums sold out showcasing a fight between Goku and Jiren. Going to the stadium to see
Cristiano Ronaldo
or to watch Dragon Ball Super? I know which one I'm picking. It's pretty rare to find a person that has not watched Dragon Ball or has at least not heard of it. Every single kid back in the day used to watch the show religiously and dream of one day becoming one of the Z Fighters. Man, the amount of hours that I was spending in my room screaming as a kid trying to go Super Saiyan is honestly ridiculous, and to be honest, that's probably the reason why my mom to this day still thinks that I'm pretty fucking autistic. Hey, regardless of what she thinks, I still have not given up. And even decades after the show ended in 1996, the Dragon Ball fever never stopped. The Dragon Ball is still all over the place, the game still sells millions of copies, so as you can imagine, people have been begging for a sequel for the longest time. And I guess somebody really went out there and found the 7 Dragon Balls, cause in the year 2015, our wishes were finally answered. After almost 20 years, the official sequel to Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, was finally announced, and oh boy! What the fuck happened here? Dragon Ball Super. You either love it or you hate it. Look, don't get me wrong, it was really nice to finally get some new Dragon Ball after all these years, but at what price? Trash animation, characters all of a sudden going senile. DBS had it all. Well, I guess we know why it's called DBS, cause this is most definitely bullshit. One of the most contested things about Super is the treatment of characters, starting with Goku. Let's be honest, Goku has never been the sharpest tool in a box. I mean, after all, this guy literally hit his head on the floor as a kid. So after something like that, you can't really expect him to become Albert Einstein. But fuck, in Dragon Ball Super, this guy became a full-on fucking shit like forgetting the seal that would have been essential to destroy Zamasu like a fucking dumbass. Or even dumb shit like telling Vegeta that meditation is a waste of time, even though he literally learned the importance of it when he was a freaking kid. Man, in Dragon Ball Super, Goku really went from riding the Nim bus to riding the short bus. This dude became so freaking brain dead that he makes SQC look like a freaking intellectual.
The game government and no getting the one in the sample, not getting my 3D.
What did he say?
But even after talking all this smack, I don't really think that he became as dumb as people want you to believe. Like we said before, Goku has never been the smartest person in the room. I mean, we're talking about the same guy that after all the effort they went through to almost kill Frieza, this guy decides to spare him, knowing damn well that his racist ass,
hello monkeys,
was most definitely gonna come back to Earth and get his gap back, therefore putting humanity in danger for no reason once again. This nigga been a dumbass since 1984. Then there's Vegeta, who, to be honest, his character actually improved in Dragon Ball Super, which not really saying much, cause man, in Dragon Ball Z, this dude was a straight menace to society. This guy used to be the leader of the Black Air Force Council. From killing thousands of innocent people because why not, to risking the fate of the universe multiple times just because of his own fucking ego. This dude could have literally ended the Android saga early, as he was way stronger to Cell after training in the room of spirit and time. But instead of giving him the final blow, he said, nope, I'ma let you absorb Android 18 and achieve perfect form so I can cancel my own strength.
Is this nigga serious?
All this just to end up getting his back absolutely blown the fuck out like a bad bee in Miami. And he doesn't even get the benefit of the doubt of this being a genuine mistake. He literally made the same mistake a few days ago when fighting Android 18 and underestimating her power. Looks like the anime we never learned was actually based on this fucking dumbass. And it doesn't even end there. Remember when these guys just started killing a bunch of random people just to convince Goku to fight him in the Majin Buu arc? Which, by the way, ended up with Majin Buu getting revived, which, by the way, ended up with humanity getting killed. All of this because I'm gonna shit it up stronger than Goku. This guy's a freaking psychopath. And see, all those things are not even the biggest of his crimes. What the fuck is the hairline, bro?
I'm loving it.
This dude legit got a McDonald's logo on top of his hat. That shit is so bad, even BUMS' mom had to start violating. Man, with a hairline like that, surpassing Goku should be the least of your worries, bro. Catch this man in a flight to Turkey right now. And besides, you know, being a literal murderer, he was also a professional hater. Man, in my 21 years of living on this earth, never have I seen such a massive hater. I actually love Vegeta's hating ass energy in Dragon Ball Z. I remember when Goku was fighting Frieza or Namek and everybody thought that he was dead. Everyone is depressed, crying. Meanwhile, he got this fucking guy in the back just bursting out laughing. Even though he literally came from just getting his ass beat by that same Frieza he couldn't even lay one finger on. This dude is so shameless. And in Dragon Ball Super, he actually becomes a better person. He realized that his hobbit-sized ass is never gonna surpass Goku. So instead of focusing all his life on doing that, he might as well focus on becoming the best version of himself, which is pretty respectable. Only took him almost 20 fucking years, but hey, better late than never, am I right? Next, we have Gohan, and oh my days. This fucking nerd. Dude went from being Ultimate Gohan to the Ultimate Bum. Nah, what the fuck actually is this? Dude went from being Mr. Take Your Girl to fucking Shinpachi from Gintama. Talk about a freaking glow down. I mean, look at that outfit. Hot up out of bed, turn my sweat off, nigga. Man, what is that dusty ass freaking tracksuit, bro? Gohan really out here making C-Dog VA look like a fashion icon in comparison, even though this is some of the shit that he be wearing. Even the shoes, bro. What are those? Those joints ain't no Oregon 5s. Those are the Oregon failure 5s. Cause every time I look at them, I'm this fucking close to getting a freaking stroke. I do understand that his family ain't exactly the richest. After all, his dad has been unemployed for the last 40 years. But still, even Goku still finds a way to stay tripped out. Man, this has to be one of the craziest fall-offs of all time. To think that at 5 years old, this dude was fighting one of the strongest beings in the universe and actually holding his own. Fuck, when I was a kid, I was out here watching trekking compilations on YouTube on my fucking 3DS. Meanwhile, at the same age, this kid was out here beating the ever-living shit out of Cell and saving the world. So, how the fuck did he turn out like this? Well, we do know how. After Dragon Ball Z, this dude decided to stop training and instead start studying bugs. Man, I honestly hope that the bugs that he's studying look like the ones from King. Otherwise, what are you even doing? And as talented as he might be, not training for a long time is actually gonna cause some damage. And we saw that in the Golden Frieza arc. His highlights reel in the arc, matter of fact. His lowlight reel is just clips of him getting his ass beat. At the end of the day, all we gotta do is thank Chi-Chi for this guy turning SSB. And I'm not talking about Super Saiyan Blue. This dude turned into a Super Saiyan bitch. Man, the way I absolutely despise this freaking character. Always screaming, always being fucking loud. She has to be one of the most annoying characters in all of anime history. And don't even try to say, oh, she's actually a great mother. A great mother wouldn't force their little child to study 24/7 and to become an academic. People want to come here and say that Gohan always wanted to be an academic. If you don't think that Chi-Chi pushing that shit down his throat like Jason Loves to Adam 22's wife has something to do with it, you're pretty fucking deluded. Dragon Ball fans keep talking about how Goku is apparently a bad father and hates his family, but can we really blame him when this is his wife? Imagine coming back home to this absolute monstrosity every single day of your life. Honey, guess who's back? Oh shit, how silly of me. I forgot that I gotta go grab something. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, just give me a second. I'll be back. I'm back! Wait, what? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. So you know when I left the room to go grab that thing downstairs? Well, it turns out that unfortunately I fell down the stairs and I lost my life. I definitely didn't take my own life because I'd rather be in fucking hell than live in this fucking house. No, definitely not that. So yeah, I would love to stay here at home with a family for a little bit longer, but unfortunately, I gotta go. So yeah, How the fuck do I get out of this fucking place? Get me out of this fucking shithole! Did y'all really believe after Goku died fighting Cell and didn't come back to Earth for 7 years, it was only because he didn't want to attract any more trouble to Earth? Hell no! This motherfucker just wanted an excuse to stay away from that spawn of Satan named Chi-Chi. Don't let Goku looking like he's happy to reunite with his family during the Buu arc fool you. He was actually crying inside. But at least not everything is doom and gloom. After all, Gohan can pretty quickly regain his powers and more whenever he's needed, as he did in the Tournament of Power arc or when he turned into Beast Gohan and absolutely obliterated Cell Max. That haircut still looks goofy, by the way. Motherfuckers out here looking like an albino Johnny Bravo. Unfortunately, we cannot say the same about the rest of the Z Fighters. This group of individuals became so freaking whack. At this point, I think the motherfucking Patties from Power Rangers could beat them. You must say that they were already complete bums in Dragon Ball Z, and I guess you technically wouldn't be wrong, but at least they were completely useless like they became in Dragon Ball Super. Let's start with Yamcha. Oh, Yamcha. See, I like this dude. He's a very likable guy, a very great friend, but holy shit, is he a fucking loser. And honestly, he's being a loser. Dragon Ball fans want you to believe that in OG Dragon Ball, this dude used to be strong as hell and absolutely badass, but that's some BS. This guy's been getting his ass beat since day one. He got defeated by an 11-year-old Goku, lost in the first round of every single world tournament, got killed by the Cyberman in a couple of seconds after talking hella smack, and even after 3 years of constant training to fight the androids, he still ended up the first person to be defeated, and all it took was a single strike. I swear, this guy would find a way to lose even at the freaking Paralympics. And all these losses are just the tip of the iceberg. Imagine not only getting your bitch taken by the same guy that killed you and all your friends back in the day, but also that same guy getting her pregnant and having a baby with her. Now I understand why Yamcha was still so weak after 3 years of training in the gravity room in the Cell Saga. Reason being that this motherfucker couldn't recover from sleeping, as his ass was kept awake every single night by the sound of Vegeta's clapping BUMS cheeks.
Huh? You ready to be a single mother?
Yeah.
Huh? Huh? Say you ready to be a single mother.
I'm ready to be a single mother.
Say I'm ready to be a single mother. Say it.
I'm ready to be a single mother.
Say it.
I'm ready to be a single mother.
Fuck! And in Dragon Ball Super, even after years of retirement from fighting, this guy still manages to take L after L. He is now a baseball superstar, but even then, when him and his friends decide to have a game of baseball, he still ends up getting bullied. And even during the Tournament of Power arc, his friends didn't even entertain for a second the idea of recruiting him. They already knew what would end up happening if they did. We also can't forget about the human bowling ball, aka Krillin. All jokes aside, that shit is polished as fuck. Now we know who Rihanna was talking about when she sang
Shine bright like a diamond.
Man, this Charlie Brown's Towers looking motherfucker also had a crazy downfall. Back in Dragon Ball Z, Krillin was probably the MVP of all the non-Saiyan Z fighters. He helped hit Vegeta with a Genki Dama and essentially put him out of business. It was essentially finding the Namekian Dragon Balls and saving the Namekians. He was really out here putting in that work. Yes, he might have gotten his ass killed like 45 times, but overall, he was really that guy. But unfortunately, it all went down in the Android Saga. As we all know, Cell would have become way too powerful if he managed to absorb both Android 17 and Android 18 and essentially become perfect. Way too powerful for even our heroes having a chance to defeat him. But thanks to the Saiyan Glizzy Gobbler, also known as Bulma, they managed to develop a remote with a button that, if pressed, would be able to shut down Android 18 and essentially stop any chance of Cell becoming the ultimate being. Well, the task of pressing that button was given to our boy Krillin, but the moment he was meant to press that button, he decides to instead break the remote and save Android 18? Huh? Why he did that, you may ask? Well, a couple of days prior, after Android 17 and Android 18 were done beating the ever-living crap out of every single Z fighter, Android 18 decided to give our boy Krillin a kiss on the cheek. And because of that one little kiss, Krillin fell in love with her, so he could just not do it. Bro! Are you fucking crazy? This motherfucking Caillou with a Planet Fitness membership. This dude really decided to sacrifice all of humanity because he was fucking horny? He really sacrificed humanity for a bot! Man, I can't believe it. This motherfucker sacrificed humanity for a bot! I just can't believe that this guy really sacrificed every single person on earth for somebody whose coochie probably looks like this. We're talking about the same girl that killed hundreds of innocent people, beat the shit out of all of his friends, and literally murdered everybody in a future timeline. And what makes it even worse is that he literally just met her. See, that one kiss that she gave him on the cheek was literally the only and ever interaction that they ever had. I understand that in the over 20 years of living on this earth, you've died more times than you felt the touch of a woman. But come on, bro, this is a different level of down bad, bro. Even your average Pokemon tier 3 sub ain't this much of a simp. Okay, let me not lie. It's impossible to be a bigger loser than a Pokemon tier 3 sub, but come on, bro, this is not Riz. Needless to say that after this, Cell absorbed Android 18 and humanity was doomed. And all this no-nose having ass nigga could do is cry like a little bitch. His downfall only continues since then. In the Blue arc, this guy contributes to absolutely nothing, and besides some minimal contribution in the Tournament of Power arc, all this guy could do in the Cell Max arc was hide in the plane and avoid fighting like a little bitch. What a sorry turn of events, man. Quickly running through the rest of the characters, we got Muta and Roshi, who actually didn't become worse in Dragon Ball Super. Matter of fact, he became even stronger and kicked a bunch of ass in the Tournament of Power arc. Besides that, he still spends his day like he always has back in the day, being a fucking pervert. Man, lately I've been rewatching all of Dragon Ball, and after watching the uncensored cut of OG Dragon Ball, holy shit, this dude was even more of a pervert than I remembered. Every single episode, this dude was up to some motherfucking tomfoolery, bro. Spying on Boobum when taking a piss, asking a teenage boomer to cop a feel, literally groping flight attendants. Man, this dude belongs in a freaking register, dog. They say never ask a woman her age and never ask him any salary. Well, when it comes to the Turtle Hermit, never ask his opinion on R. Kelly.
Free R. Kelly, man.
I beg your pardon?
Then you got Tenshinhan, who simply got done dirty in Super. Back in OG Dragon Ball, he was fucking badass. His fight with Goku during the martial art tournaments is still one of the best moments in all of Dragon Ball. And even in Dragon Ball Z, even though he couldn't keep up with the rest of the Saiyans, he was still training every single day and was never afraid to take on a challenge. For example, when he held up Cell with his so that Android 18 could escape and avoid being absorbed from Cell, which unfortunately turned out to be a waste of time thanks to a certain someone. The reason that I say that he got done dirty in Dragon Ball Super is that even though he's the only human Z fighter that continued training after the Majin Buu arc, he's still infinitely weaker than a pensioner that spends all his time jerking off in Roshi, and then that Chinese Elmer from Looney Tunes who became a police officer. Now that we've gotten an overview of what happened to the characters, let's move on to the story. See, this is where it gets very controversial. Some people love it and some people absolutely despise it. Starting with the good, the Future Trunks arc is hands down one of the best arcs in all of Dragon Ball. The fights were amazing, we got Vegeta blue, and most importantly, the stakes were actually high, as nobody could be revived with the use of the Dragon Balls. For example, once Bulma got killed, that's it. She was dead and gone for good. Also, Zamasu and Goku Black were amazing villains, and matter of fact, the only ever villains in all of Dragon Ball that actually managed to do what they set out to do in the first place and managed to kill every single mortal. All that could be done at the end of the arc was for the Omni King to erase the whole timeline from existence and pretty much forcing Future Trunks and his 60-plus-year-old girlfriend to go live in a different timeline. So yeah, remember all these people from the Future Trunks timeline back in Dragon Ball Z? They're all dead. Even the Tournament of Power arc, while not as good narratively as the Goku Black saga, still have plenty of high moments. Vegeta going blue evolution against Toppo, Goku versus Kefla, Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku versus Jiren. Man, when that started playing during the fight between Goku and Jiren, tell me I did not get a boner. That might have been the best fight in the whole Dragon Ball franchise. The music, the animation, the fight choreography, everything was on point. Man, whoever animated that fight needs their sucked right now because that shit was fire. Dragon Ball Super Broly was also a banger. The fights and animation were absolutely incredible. Broly and Gogeta are finally canon, and I get some new material to be my shit too? I couldn't be any happier. Finally, Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Yes, I know that name sounds freaking dumb, but the movie itself was super good. It's great to see Piccolo aka the GOAT and Gohan finally get some spotlight back on him. Orange Piccolo and Beast Gohan look fucking badass, even though that haircut still looks goofy. Z, and even more hentai material for me to beat my shit to with the debut of Pen's Cool Teacher. Man, all I've been taking lately is W's. Alexa, play All I Do Is Swim by T-Pain.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Okay, now let me zip them pants back up. I've had enough me writing for today. Let's get on to the negatives. For example, where is the black people? Actually, that's probably better they're not even here. Bro, these motherfuckers ain't black. These motherfuckers are hard R's. What show is this? Dragon Ball Z or Ruth featuring Kunta Kinte, bro? What's with every melanated person in Dragon Ball having the same complexion of a PS4 and looking like they just starred in the latest Planet of the Apes movie? Looks like this should be the anime called Darker Than Black, not this one. And since we're already here, don't you find it just a little bit weird that Bulma was not scared of a little mass murderer in Vegeta, but the moment Mr. Popo wants to help her and their friends by finding a spaceship that would get them to Namek so they could find the Dragon Balls to revive their friends, she wants to be all scared for her life? Bro, looking at that face, you think she saw a monster. Sorry, Gamma, are you trying to tell us something? Man, I always knew there was something off about this show after seeing this one scene.
Hold your fire! This man isn't black!
What do you mean by that? Another thing people have an issue with is the way too many new forms. They're really out here handing out power-ups like candy. In the 3-year run of Dragon Ball Super, we got more forms than the original 11-year run of OG Dragon Ball. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, Super Saiyan Rose, Super Saiyan Rage, Ultra Instinct, Mastered Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, Beast Gohan. We almost covered every single color of the rainbow. Fuck, even the LGBTQ flag ain't getting a new color update this often, and that shit went from looking like this to this in just a few years. Back in the day, there was actually some way to every new transformation. For example, Goku only went Super Saiyan after fighting for a very long time and seeing his best friend Krillin getting killed in front of him. Or even Gohan going Super Saiyan 2. He only transformed after seeing all his friends getting jumped and Android 16 getting brutally killed. But nowadays, we just have a bunch of walking RGB lights getting a new transformation every episode, with half of them being simply assholes. I can only imagine what Dragon Ball villains are going through. Every time they feel like they got the upper hand and are on the verge of winning, these motherfuckers just get a new rainbow colored hair and just beat their ass.
We cannot beat these. We cannot beat this motherfucking team for shit!
And on the topic of shit that makes no sense like NBA Youngboy, there's so many question mark moments in Dragon Ball Super. For example, the Potara fusion only lasting 1 hour when not used by Kaioshins, which is actually a retcon, as in Dragon Ball Z, it was stated that anybody using the Potara fusion will be permanently fused with no way of going back. In my opinion, this pretty much ruined the appeal of Potara fusion, as it took all the stakes away from using it in the first place. See, in Dragon Ball Z, when Goku and Vegeta used the fusion for the first time, it was freaking cool. It made you wonder what's gonna happen after they're fused forever. Are they gonna combine families? Are they gonna take turns on fucking each other's wives every week? Who knows? But that made it really interesting. But now, there's just no repercussions. And you might argue that the whole repercussions and stake stuff was also applied to Dragon Ball Z. After all, we're talking about a show called Dragon Ball. A show about a bunch of balls that can grant any wish. So if anybody dies, if anything bad happens, we can just ask the little dragon and everything will go back to being fine. And that's true to some extent, but at the end of the day, the fact that Dragon Ball Super takes place in the 10 years between the second to last episode of Dragon Ball Z and the last episode, we know that no matter how strong the enemy might be, no matter how the writers might try to build tension, we know based on the last episode of Dragon Ball Z that everyone will be fine, so the stakes are pretty much non-existent. I don't know, man, something just feels off about Dragon Ball Super. I know Dragon Ball has never been the most serious show, but Dragon Ball Super just feels way too fucking goofy, to the point that sometimes it feels like you're just watching one big old filler series. The Universe 6 tournament arc is an example of it. Besides Hit vs Goku and the fact that I would give Vader some mean ass back shots, that shit was ass. How are we meant to take this arc seriously and be worried about Earth's future when the opponents are literally winning the pool with learning difficulties and whatever the fuck this is? Bro, why are them nipples so hard? Honestly, Dragon Ball Super simply lacks some of that OG Dragon Ball and DBZ magic. But even then, as much as Dragon Ball Super might not be as good as OG Dragon Ball, I still don't think it's as bad as people want you to believe. I also feel like people think that Dragon Ball Z was this masterpiece that it actually never was, dog. And that's probably because of nostalgia. Look, as somebody that has seen Dragon Ball Z many times and has recently just rewatched the whole series, I can tell you, Dragon Dragon Ball Z never had that great of a story. You can tell Toriyama was making shit up as it went. It was never meant to be that deep. Like, if we really have to call any of the Dragon Ball series a masterpiece, even though I don't think any of them is a masterpiece, it's probably gonna have to be OG Dragon Ball. Man, that show was a banger. Like, he actually had a great sense of adventure, and he actually had very high stakes. Does anybody remember the King Piccolo arc? That shit was crazy. This guy pulls up and kills Krillin, defeats Goku, who's never been tested until now, kills Master Roshi, kills fucking Shenron, so nobody can be revived with the use of the Dragon Balls. This guy just starts blowing up random cities. Man, this arc was crazy. Even the final fight between him and Goku at the end was absolutely amazing and didn't drag out like 20 episodes like in Dragon Ball Z. Overall though, I still had a lot of great fun watching Dragon Ball Super. It might be nowhere near as good as OG Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, but it still had a bunch of great moments. And it was also great to keep up with all the discussions and theories while the show was airing each and every week. Now tell it, it's been 5 fucking years. Let's bring the show back, please. There's no way. Apparently Dragon Ball Super is coming back and the first episode already released. I mean, what is there more to say? Let's go check it out. Huh?